When the world was still young, Izanagi and Izanami shaped islands, mountains, tides, and the gods. They once believed creation meant making the world whole, but one day that wholeness broke in the cruelest way. After Izanami gave birth to the fire deity, fire claimed her body. The world did not end at once. The sea still moved, the wind still crossed the mountains, and gods were still being born. But for Izanagi, half the world had vanished. He called her name. No answer came. They brought forth the land together. If they could help the world begin, why couldn't he bring her back? So Izanagi chose to cross the boundary between the living and the dead. He would go to Yomi and find her. Yomi was no road of the living, and it was not a bright palace of the gods. The farther one walked, the more it felt like leaving the light behind. Sounds grew heavy. The wind felt as if it blew up from the earth below. Izanagi entered that darkness with one thought only: find Izanami and bring her home. At last, at the gate of Yomi, he called for her. This time a voice answered. Izanami answered from the dark. Her voice was still like the one in his memory, yet separated by an unreachable depth. Izanagi begged her to return to the earth and the world they made together. She heard his plea, yet did not answer at once. She said he was too late. She had eaten Yomi's food and already belonged there. But she said she would ask the gods of Yomi whether it might still be possible to leave. Then she gave him one command: do not look at me. Until I return, do not light a flame, do not come in, do not look at what I have become. Izanagi agreed. He stood outside the dark and waited. At first he believed she would return. Waiting was waiting. Night would eventually become dawn. But the time of Yomi was not the time of the upper world. Darkness deepened. She did not return. Each moment reminded him that perhaps she would never return. Perhaps Yomi had already kept her. Love can feel like trust, and sometimes it can feel like fear. At last, Izanagi could not bear it. He broke a tooth from his comb and lit a faint flame, entering where she was. That single light rose in Yomi and illuminated what he should not have seen. Izanami was no longer the goddess he remembered in the wind, the one who had once shared creation beside him. Death had changed her. Her body no longer belonged to the light of this world, and around her was decay and dark shadow that could not return to life. What he saw was not only a terrible scene. He saw the fact she had truly crossed that line. She was not a hidden wife waiting to be recovered. She had become part of the land of the dead. The flame exposed his transgression and the face she least wanted him to see. Izanami understood. Shame, sorrow, and anger surged together. She had once asked him not to look and tried to preserve her last dignity, yet he entered by love's name and hurt her by love's name as well. The silence of Yomi shattered. Izanagi ran. Behind him came the sounds of pursuit. The gods of Yomi and shadows in the dark closed in on him. He fled as if to pull himself out of the land of death. He dropped what he carried to delay them. He ran through shadow and cold wind toward the one exit. That way felt longer than the way he had come. He carried hope when he entered. When he left he carried truth. At Yomotsu Arasaka, the slope connecting life and death, he neared the edge of the upper world. Darkness surged behind him and Izanami's power drew nearer. He could not turn back. He dragged a great stone to block Yomi's exit. When it fell, it blocked more than one path. It separated two worlds. On one side of the stone was Izanagi. On the other side was Izanami. They could not see one another, but both knew the other was present. Two gods who once created the world stood apart and spoke their last words through the stone. Izanami declared in anger, "If you leave me like this, I will take 1,000 lives each day." Izanagi answered then, "I will bring forth 1,500 lives each day." It was no reconciliation. It was the new law of the world. Death would come. Life would continue. Loss would never disappear, and birth would not stop. From that moment onward, Izanami remained in Yomi, becoming the presence of the land of death. Izanagi returned to the world of the living, but he was no longer himself. He escaped Yomi, yet he did not bring her back. He saw the truth and lost the last chance to return. After leaving Yomi, Izanagi felt the stain of debt on him. He went to the water to wash away the shadow he carried back from Yomi. The water flowed over his body and over his grief. In that purification, new gods were born and the powers of light, moon, and storm entered the world. The stone still stood there. On one side was the world where the living continued to be born. On the other side was the one who could never return. Some doors, once crossed, cannot be treated as if they were never crossed. Some truths, once seen, cannot be denied as if they never happened. The approved source for this film follows the Kojiki Yomi segment Izanagi crosses the life-death boundary, breaks Izanami's injunction, sees the irreversible truth, and seals the way with the great stone at Yomotsu Hirosaka. Nihon Shoki variants are kept only as boundary reference notes. Related material boundary differences from Nihon Shoki and later Shinto continuation traditions including Amaterasu and later divine lineage are kept only as contextual references, not part of this story's core narrative. Thank you for watching this story of Izanagi and Izanami.